So, normally, when you think about what makes a good game, you think of good stuff. But today, I want to talk about Lethal Company and how its equipment hurts me just right. Sun Tzu once said, "A good horror video game makes you feel scared. A great horror video game makes you feel hopeless." So, for the uninitiated, Lethal Company is a 4-player co-op comedy horror game in which 3 players explore abandoned space facilities looking for trash to ferry back to their ship, while dodging a cast of SCP-adjacent monsters, while a 4th player usually stays back at the ship, watching cameras that can reveal loot and hazards, just generally being the team's coordinator, and then also leaving with the ship once everybody's dead. So, when I say the equipment sucks, I don't mean it's useless, just that it's very intentionally suboptimal. I'm also being intentionally inflammatory for the engagement. It's really common for the flashlights in horror games to be really dim and to run out of juice fast because low light and an urgent lack of batteries are really good for horror. Lethal Company does that and has the flashlight take up a quarter of your inventory space because what makes these items bad isn't just that they aren't very effective. It's that Lethal Company has an extremely punishing inventory system. You only get 4 slots, and everything takes a slot, and you need those inventory spaces to haul back enough empty bottles and cookie pens to your ship, or else you won't make quota, or else you'll be let go. In most horror games, the flashlight is just a feature of your character. It is assumed. In Lethal Company, the flashlight is a logistical pain in my ass. Sticking in theme, your primary self-defense option also takes up a precious inventory slot, and also it's a shovel. Most of the threats you encounter will be less than impressed by your shovel before they liquidate you. You'll frequently find it wasn't very helpful at all, but occasionally it'll give you a chance to save your life. Also filling up your increasingly finite pockets is the Walkietalkie. Players normally only get proximity chat by default, but walkie-talkies allow you to speak to your distant friends, and crucially, one who might be sitting in the ship with access to a radar that can help spot delicious tea kettles and giant spiders alike. Proper communication with the coordinator can save you a lot of time. But frankly, the walkie-talkie kinda sucks. You need to have them in your hand to speak. So if you're carrying something that requires 2 hands, you'll need to set it down, and then you have to pull out the walkie-talkie and hold it up to your face. And if you're being chased, calling for help means holding the walkie-talkie instead of something more useful that might actually save you, instead of just broadcasting your screams. The walkie-talkie is really better at letting you warn your friends of danger than it is at saving your life. It also has a battery that can run out, but its battery lasts just a little bit longer than a mission, so if it dies, it's almost always because you forgot to charge it, which is excellent player-generated, free-range, organic fuckery. The walkie-talkie's clunkiness is consistently a really good source of these organically generated suspense beats. Is my buddy not answering his walkie-talkies because they're carrying something? Or are they in danger? Or maybe just dead? And nothing tops being on your way back to your ship and having your guy in the chair just fail to answer their walkie-talkie. Deliciously ominous. Eventually, your crew might be able to afford a teleporter that can pull you to safety at the expense of your items, but because the walkie-talkie is so clunky, the odds you're in a situation so urgent it's worth ditching your stuff while also being able to scroll to your walkie-talkie to call for help are remote. Even then, the teleporter has a painfully long wind-up. Most of the time, when you press that teleport button, it's just going to plop an empty corpse on the floor of your ship, which isn't all bad, because corporate reduces your pay for every body you don't recover. There's an absolutely delicious feeling of resignation that sets in when you realize the teleporter isn't for saving you, it's for recovering your corpse to save on overhead. Also, the game gives your ship a door, but it's one of those Five Nights at Freddy's doors that can only stay closed just long enough for you to get a few good laps around your ship like a trapped raccoon. The fact your equipment fails you so often goes so far to reinforce the bleak atmosphere of the corporate setting. Every possible corner has been cut. You're not some elite strike force getting valuable intel. You're a team of expendable unpaid interns, being forced to risk your lives for just the most lame possible loot. By the end of the game, Lamps will have you and the boys going, "Oh wow, we're rolling in it now, lads." It's a very cohesive vibe of hopelessness. The game doesn't even have a good ending. You just collect trash until they inevitably execute you for not gathering enough desk lamps. They crush all hopes of victory, and then they drop you in this huge sandbox of goofy, unwieldy things that can go wrong. And when that's paired with the way it modulates your voice and cuts you off when you die, it gives the game flawless comedic timing. It's a non-stop gallows humor generator. When everyone comes in expecting to die horrifically, mistakes that might have been frustrating in another game are just gags for you and the boys to cackle about. The game is occasionally fairly scary, especially when you're isolated from your group, which is a huge accomplishment in a co-op game with a dedicated dance button. But the real reason it went viral, why it's fun, is that it's the funny space game, and the game design reinforces that at every step. Money is actually surprisingly not that scarce. Very quickly, your crew starts saying, screw it, we don't need any more shovels, let's buy a toilet. The game gives you plenty of ship decor to blow cash on. Also worthless, but very funny. Did you die and lose your shovel? No biggie. It was just a shovel. Okay, so if my final thesis was funny space game is funny, I wouldn't be making this video. What I really want you to walk away with is the understanding that pretty much any problem with the equipment in Lethal Company can be made a lot more manageable by coordinating with your team. The shovel is barely useful enough to justify its inventory space. Well, just have one buddy be the designated warrior king, and stay close enough that they'll hear your muffled shouts when a giant shrimp tries to smother you. The teleporter is a lot more likely to save you if you have a friend nearby who can call the coordinator on your behalf. If you're really grouping up, you might even be able to not all bring flashlights. The better you coordinate items with your crew, the more inventory you'll be able to free up, and the more trash you'll be able to squirrel away in your chipmunk cheeks, the easier of a time you'll have making quota, and the more money you'll have to waste on boomboxes, Christmas lights, TVs that play propaganda, and romantic ambiance. And then, surrounded by Christmas lights, wearing your pajama suits, and dancing to your brand new gramophone, you realize the real precious garbage was the friends you made along the way. So there you have it. Bad items set your expectations low and force teamwork. If you like this, consider subscribing for more corporate propaganda. Now, get out of here. You, my friend, have a quota to make.